Welcome to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast. We believe life is about how we react. All right, here we are again. Welcome back to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast. My name is Sean, and Kyle is my co-host.
I am here.
Or I'm his co-host. Whatever. Listen, I've got a story, and I have been dying to tell you this, Kyle.
Man,
and
I am really excited.
All of our friends in podcast land. Speaking of, I hate that phrase. I've heard that phrase so much on other podcasts, and I hate it. So I hate that I just used it. I will never do that again.
All
right, anyway, so the other morning, first of all, the very first thing you need to do, everybody, Kyle, you too, pause for a moment and go to your internet browser and search for House Centipede.
House Centipede.
Okay?
All right.
House Centipede. If you know what I'm talking about, good. We're going to keep going. If you can't picture a house centipede, you must look it up real quick to understand the trauma that I am facing in my life. Okay, so the other morning, I'm brushing my teeth. Actually, sorry, I'm ready to go. I'm about to head out the door, and I'm gonna floss real quick because of breakfast and coffee and all that stuff. So I'm gonna floss and then jet to work. Okay, well,
whoa, dude.
Because of
sorry,
thank you. You got it. You okay?
These things
So
look
Kyle
crazy.
looked it up. You all need to do this. Okay, it's not the same if you don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm in the bathroom. I'm dressed for work. I'm about ready to leave, but I'm gonna floss real quick. And for those of you with FA, you completely understand. But for those of you that don't have motor, not motor, but control in your arms and whatever. I don't use a manual toothbrush because I'll, jam my gums and stuff. We lack control in our arms and movement. So I use an electric toothbrush and I use a water pick to floss. So water pick is a little machine like you see at the dentist where it just shoots water in between your teeth at a powerful rate to help clean in between your teeth, right? Can you picture it? Have you seen? Okay. So I fill my little water pick with water, and I begin to floss my teeth. Well, like anybody, I lean over the bathroom sink because all that water is going to be flowing out of my mouth. That's got to go somewhere. Well, picture your bathroom sink. You've got your faucet, and then directly across from your faucet, so right about your waist area, you've got a hole, like a backup drain, right?
Oh yeah, for
that's
the
like
sink,
where the overflow.
Right.
Exactly. So I'm leaning over, so like my chin is pretty darn close to this hole, right? And out of my peripheral vision, I see one of these house centipedes come running out of the hole like a bat out of hell. I kid you not. It did not think about coming out of the hole. It literally shot out of the hole like something was chasing it. And I see this out of my peripheral vision. Mind you, it's like 6 inches from my face. So it causes me to just jump and react like I was startled.
Yeah.
And I've got this water pick in my mouth.
Oh, did you injure yourself?
Jam it.
Oh.
Yeah. I jammed the water pick up to my, in between my gums and my cheek. So that hurts. And, reflexes aren't the greatest in individuals with Friedreich's ataxia. So I began to kind of I'm all over the place trying to catch myself from falling. I drop the water pick because now it hurts. I've jammed my mouth.
It's not stuck in the roof of your mouth, though, right?
No, like it came back out, but it's like a water or a fire hose because it's still on. So I drop it and water is shooting everywhere. Like it's hitting my face, it's hitting the mirror, it's all over the bathroom, and I've got this huge monstrous spider trying to eat me alive in my sink. And I'm trying to keep myself from falling over or twisting an ankle. So finally I capture myself. I get steady, take a deep breath. Meanwhile, water is still shooting everywhere because the tank still has water in it. So I finally get that turned off, and I catch myself, and I get my footing, and I see the 5-inch or what, probably like 1.5 inch centipede that felt like an anaconda. So I get rid of that and finally get to a place where I feel safe in my bathroom, but I'm paranoid even today. This happened 2 days ago, and right now I'm just paranoid. I'm looking at every corner. I don't do anything without a light turned on first, and there's some serious trauma because this centipede, although completely harmless, I've since read about them.
Oh, okay.
They're great to have in your home because all they do is kill other bugs and eat other insects, and they're harmless
really
to you and I.
Freaky looking though.
They are freaky looking. Again, look it up if you haven't yet. So everything's fine. I'm still alive. Nothing ate me. My mouth is still a little sore and my cheeks a little swollen, but I'm gonna be okay.
Well, Sean, I'm glad you didn't get injured, and I'm glad you didn't drown too. From all that water in the water pick. But thank you for sharing that story with us.
You're welcome.
Hopefully our listeners got a little kick out of that. I know I've been in, I'll be brushing my teeth.
There's nothing funny about this. Okay, don't laugh.
Okay, you got it. No, injuries from brushing your teeth, flossing your teeth are serious business around here.
Yep, they really are.
Awesome. Cool. All right, Sean, thank you for that ridiculous story. And without further ado, we are going to play our interview with Rob Long, who is the executive director of Uplifting Athletes. It's an organization that works with college football programs all over the country, and they engage their athletes in raising funds and supporting rare disease research. And so here is our interview with Rob Long. Rob Long is one of the best punters in Syracuse history and in college football history, with a career average of 42.83 yards per punt. He was destined for the NFL, but senior year in college, Rob started experiencing headaches, and an MRI revealed a malignant tumor in his brain. Rob was diagnosed with a rare brain cancer and underwent several surgeries to remove the cancer. He outlived all expectations of survival. Rob is now the executive director of Uplifting Athletes, an organization that raises money for research and inspires the rare disease community through the power of sport. Rob Long, welcome to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Kyle and Sean. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, it's an honor for sure. So, Rob, first of all, can you tell us your story in your own words? I outlined it here in your bio a little bit, but why don't you give it in your own words?
Yeah, so I think you did a pretty good job, but I was born and raised just outside Philadelphia. And I was given the opportunity when I was in high school to play football at Syracuse. I received a full scholarship, and I couldn't have been more excited. And it wasn't really something I was expected. I wasn't heavily recruited. Didn't think I was headed to the NFL or anything like that. Just kind of suburban high school. Got an opportunity to go to a big time school and play football, and it was a dream come true. And got up on campus and just worked to perfect my craft and to try and be as good as I could be at what I was doing. And after starting for 4 years at Syracuse, I had put myself in a position where I thought I was headed for the NFL, and I often talked about my only concern senior year was what NFL city I was going to end up in, and just figure it out from there. And 5 days after my last regular season game, I hadn't been really feeling well all season, but was still doing pretty well, all things considered. And, went and saw the team doctor, and he was a little confused by the symptoms that I was feeling. And so he sent me to get an MRI. And then that's when we found out after the MRI that I had a large tumor in my head. And that was in December 2010, and that really changed everything for me. And that moment on really set my life on a totally different trajectory than anything that I had ever dreamed of or thought of.
I feel like it takes a lot of character to be like, you know what, I was gonna be in the NFL. I was gonna, lead a totally different life. And now this seemingly unfortunate situation happened, but I'm going to make the best of it. I think that takes a lot of character, and I think that Uplifting Athletes is fortunate to have you as their leader, and we are fortunate to have you in the rare disease community.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you.
So, just for my sake and a lot of our listeners, can you guys tell me or give me an overview of what Uplifting Athletes is or what they do?
Yeah, so Uplifting Athletes is a nonprofit that was started in 2007 by a gentleman named Scott Shirley. And Scott was a Penn State football player who also had been, his family had been affected by a rare disease. His dad was diagnosed with a rare form of kidney cancer, and this is back in 2002, and he realized at that point that the people in the rare disease community weren't being given the treatment options or the resources that other people had. And so he, used his platform as a Penn State student athlete on the football team to raise some awareness and raise some money. And that was really the start of this movement that he created. Fast forward 4 years from that 2003 event that he held at Penn State. In 2007, Uplifting Athletes became a 501c3 nonprofit, and that's where things really started to take foot. And basically what Scott had done and has done over the last several years is to generate this grassroots organic movement around college football and being able to use the platform that college football student athletes have to inspire the rare disease community. And so I took over. I've been working with Uplifting Athletes now for over 2.5 years. I took over as the executive director in November of 2018. And what we really wanted to do kind of in that transition was to take Uplifting Athletes from this unbelievable grassroots organic word of mouth organization into a legitimate national nonprofit where we're starting to have a bigger and bigger impact and kind of lay the groundwork and build off the foundation that Scott laid to continue to expand in what we're doing. And so the mission of the organization is to inspire the rare disease community with hope through the power of sport. And right now we have 4 programs that everything that we do in terms of our time and our money that's where our focus is. And so we have an Uplifting Leaders program, which is the development of the student athletes at the chapter levels. So we have a network of 22 chapters across the country, Division I football schools, and our Uplifting Leaders program is the development of those student athletes that we work with, and they become these unbelievably powerful rare disease advocates and leaders that we're so fortunate to work with. And so we do a number of things through the Uplifting Leaders program. Then the other three programs are more focused solely in the rare disease side, and kind of bringing everything together. So we have rare disease awareness, which is baked into everything that we do, is raising awareness for the rare disease community. Then the Uplifting Experiences program, which is really the engagement of the rare disease community in the communities of our college chapters. So uniting rare disease patients and the players on campus together so that they can meet each other. And I think it's one of the things that it's as beneficial for one party as it is the other. For the student athletes, they're really seeing the people, the lives that they can impact by using their platform. And for the patients and the rare disease families, they're able to meet these guys who are taking their time to work with them, and the guys that they look up to and see you play on Saturdays, and hopefully one day on Sundays. And so these events that we were putting together is really bringing them all together and to use the platform that the athletes have to do something that's uniquely to do something that Uplifting Athletes is uniquely positioned to do. And the last one is our rare disease research initiative, which comes to fruition through the Young Investigator Draft, which Kyle was a part of this, just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that was so much fun.
So the Young Investigator Draft is Uplifting Athletes' dedication to the rare disease research community by funding young investigative researchers in the rare disease community in the areas in which they're working. And so what we do for that is we partner with some 5 priority partner organizations to fund young investigative research in the rare disease community. It's something we've only had 2 of these events. We've been incredibly proud of how they've turned out and the magnitude of impact that they've had in such a short time. So that's the kind of semi-brief version of what Uplifting Athletes is and what we do.
Yeah, well, so I just want to add something to the Young Investigator Draft. I think it's really amazing. I mean, it's a really unique event. It's a lot of fun because it's held at Lincoln Financial Field, which is where the Philadelphia Eagles play football, and it really honors the young investigators, and that's a big strategy, I think, of all rare disease organizations, is to get young investigators early so that they see that there's the ability to build a career in whatever rare disease they want to, and to encourage them to be there always, in there that they're going to have the support they need. So it was something really awesome to be involved with. We're very proud of our draft pick, Dr. Shana McCormick, who has been on the podcast before. And so, yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Awesome. So, Rob, there was a video that came out with your story. We posted it to the Two Disabled Dudes Facebook page, and we're also going to post it in the show notes of this episode, but super inspiring and touching video. But in that video, you said these words. You said, "I believe that in the future, the rare disease community will be just as empowered as the athletic community. That we will celebrate treatments and cures the way we celebrate trophies and championships." That's a pretty bold statement, especially about rare disease. Most of these diseases no one's ever heard of. So how do we expect to accomplish that?
So I think through the development of programs like the Young Investigator Draft, I think the idea behind it is that we use the platform that is traditionally reserved for athletics, a draft format where guys are going from the ranks of college football to the NFL or college to the NBA. And so what we really wanted to do was to celebrate and recognize the research that was being done by these young investigators. And we thought, why not mimic the platform that has been so powerful and so popular that the NFL draft is now covered for 3 days on television, the whole draft, and the analysis and everything that goes into it. It's become this spectacle. And I think what we really want to do is kind of use that same platform and leverage the same idea and concept to say, hey, we're not drafting players, but what we are doing is recognizing and quote unquote drafting these young investigative researchers and telling their stories about what they're doing and the people that they're supporting. And I think those stories, as they're told, as they come out, as this program continues to develop, is something that can be celebrated, and that these people, these researchers that are doing this work behind the scenes, that they are encouraged and they are celebrated for what they've done, because I think what they're doing is so vitally important. And I've said it a million times before, but I would not be sitting here talking to you guys if somebody did not do the basic bench research that was required for the entire process to be put into place to develop a treatment that I took. And I was incredibly, lucky that it was successful for me and has been successful this far. But it's not lost on me that the research that was done years and years before I was ever diagnosed is really the reason that I'm still here. And I want to make sure that I'm doing my job and using my perspective on everything to say, hey, there's these young investigative researchers and these researchers who are doing this work that's so vitally important to the entire ecosystem of drug treatment and development for rare diseases. And we want to make sure that we do our part to recognize them. And we're hoping that this is something that continues to grow, that we can recognize more than 6 researchers in a given night, that we can start to really grow and build this program, maybe in different cities or different times of year. But whatever it is, I really believe that what we're trying to accomplish as an organization is to recognize the research that's being done and to celebrate them in a way that they deserve.
Yeah, man, I was thinking about it, like at the Young Investigators draft. I don't know what the attendance was, but there must have been like 200 people there. If it was focused on one rare disease, that would have been like from FA at that event, there was like 5 people there, right? But we're in a room that's, focused on all rare disease, and all of a sudden there's 200 people, So that's pretty powerful, I think.
Yeah, I think that was kind of part of what we wanted. And I think when you talk about the Young Investigator Draft specifically, we're in a spot where we're bringing scientists, researchers, advocacy partners, patient advocates, patients, families, caregivers, the general public, and we're getting all these people together, industry partners, getting all these people together in one room and to support one cause. I think in part because of the allure that sports have, right? When we're having an event at Lincoln Financial Field in the Eagle Stadium, and you get to go on a tour and see the locker room and see the field, then that's really neat. That this is probably one of the few venues in the city that has the draw and the allure of going to it, just because it is a stadium, right? It's not it's not a hotel ballroom. It's not a convention center. So that's where we can get people there that don't necessarily have a tie to the cause, but say, oh, hey, I'll go check out the stadium, and then while I'm there, I'm learning all about the rare disease community and what we're doing. And so I think that's part of the strategy behind it.
I know that I think there's partly an athlete never loses touch with athleticism, and you're always an athlete, right? And so I wanted to know how you exercise your need for competition or physical activity. How do you remain in shape today?
So a couple things. I go to the gym about 4 or 5 times a week, do kind of the circuit training type stuff, and that just kind of pushing myself, uh, going through and being trained for football and playing Division I football. You're just inherently you're working out every day. You get up early, you have to work out, and so I think that being instilled in me, going through those years of 17 to 21, it kind of always kind of implanted that desire to work out, to stay in shape, as well as it's good for my health, or to stay doing that. And then the other thing that I do weekly is I play in a men's league hockey league. So
Cool.
yeah, so I actually played hockey my whole life, and I wanted to go to college and play hockey and see where it took me. And when I was given a scholarship to play football at Syracuse, that pretty much put the end to my hockey career for a little while. And so getting back into that's been really awesome. It's a sport I absolutely love and enjoy playing so much. So that feeds the competitive beast inside me a little bit to stay up doing that.
So
nice.
A question for you regarding your training. I've never met you. I just seen pictures online or Instagram, whatever. Obviously, you seem pretty fit and perfectly healthy. So you're 7 years cancer free. Is that right?
8 as of Tuesday morning. So
all right, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
So 8 years.
8 years. Yeah.
So 8 years cancer free. Is there any impact on your life today? Is there any challenges you're up against when you talked about going to the gym or playing hockey? Is there any? Has there been a long-term impact to what you've been facing medically?
Yeah. So I've been incredibly fortunate, and I still think that I'm one of the luckiest people in this world. And I've been physically pretty much able to go back to the life that I knew before in training and trying to play in the NFL, and being able to play men's league hockey. The hardest thing for me really was the mental challenges that I faced from everything, because I went into this whole thing thinking of these big awesome dreams of playing NFL football, and then in a matter of days and weeks, I was told that I have this incredibly deadly brain cancer, and that that I didn't have long to live, and that the 5-year survival rate was 15%. And so there was a period in my life where I thought and I expected to die, and then it never happened. And a lot of people who I've spoken with in the brain cancer and brain tumor community, that I've tried to speak with and share my story to, a lot of those people have lost their battle, and that I was trying to help with, how to go through that process. And so physically, I've been very, very lucky. Mentally has been a long, long battle for me, because I think one of the hardest things for me to really process sometimes is that people look at me and say, oh, well, it couldn't have been that bad. He looks perfectly normal and he looks fine. And on the inside, it was just tearing me up, because I didn't understand why I had the outcome that I had, and so many other people had the outcome that I thought I was going to have. And for me, the mental challenges, it took me a very long time to move past that. And so that was really the hardest challenge that I faced, was dealing with that survivor's guilt, and finding out that I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, and I was just diagnosed with that within the last 6 months, and 6 or 7 months. And so I went a full 7 years with dealing with this and not understanding why I was feeling the way I was feeling, or not being as happy as I should have been, because I survived, right? Then why isn't every day just the greatest day ever? But there's these challenges that you try to you try to comprehend. And for somebody who I didn't struggle with mental health prior to any of this, and then when this all happened, it hit me really hard and was very difficult to kind of figure out and to sort out and to handle. And thankfully, I was able to get help and find help. And getting a post-traumatic stress disorder diagnosis, even though I physically looked better, in the inside I was choked with anxiety daily.
What was the most important step? Like, what was the first step for you in coming to your diagnosis of PTSD? Because I think there's a lot of people out there who deal with mental health issues like that and don't really know what to do. So what would you recommend? Yeah,
so I think, fortunately and unfortunately, this was something that I kind of came to on my own. It's hard for me to say I wish it hadn't gone this way, because I'm pretty happy with where I am now, and I wouldn't change where I am now. But I think being aware and talking more about this and sharing my side of the story is that hopefully people don't have to deal with this, and will go and find help. And I think for me, I saw a therapist at one point, and she was not trained in post-traumatic stress disorder. And so I went and I was seeing her, and it really didn't feel like I was getting any better or anything was moving in the right direction. And she kind of mentioned in passing, well, yeah, like you probably could have something called post-traumatic stress disorder. And that was the first time that I'd ever heard it. But it wasn't, we didn't move down treating it or doing anything about it. And so I stopped there, and, it kind of went away a little bit, and then it really came back bad. Probably about 7-8 months ago. And just through other things that had happened in my life, this post-traumatic stress and this trauma was activated. And it was so debilitating to the fact where I couldn't sleep without taking something to make me go to sleep. I couldn't, focus on the work. Things that I would normally do in a given day, I physically couldn't do. I couldn't, I was looking at emails coming in, and I just couldn't respond to them. And it wasn't because I didn't want to. It felt like, it felt like I just couldn't. I had to isolate myself from everything. And one of the difficulties with it is the nature of my work is basically my trauma, right? I talk about my story and what I've been through in the worst days of my life almost on a regular basis. And so when that trauma was activated, it made everything around work or anything around my story or anything I'd been through, it made it seem like an attack on me and my well-being. And so I try and isolate myself from it. And finally, at one point, I just said, I can't be like this. I can't live like this. And I went into our trusty friend Google and searched post-traumatic stress and chronic illness, and I found a doctor who specialized in people with post-traumatic stress disorder and chronic illness. And I made an appointment, saw that person, and it was the first time in years that I had felt any bit of relief. And I think one of the things about post-traumatic stress disorder that it's so important to share and to talk about is that there are, to help, dramatically help. There are treatments that make living with it so much better and so much easier. And so that's where, for me, going through that treatment over the last 7-8 months has been life-changing, right? I wouldn't have talked about this and the mental health aspect, and I know that's part of the issue, but I wouldn't have talked about it because it was so uncomfortable for me to discuss. I mean, as little as 2 or 3 months ago, right? And that's where I'm starting to get a better handle on what is going on and being able to share it without also affecting what I'm able to do in a given day.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, and I feel like I think probably as I see you, one of the driving factors is like, all right, I gotta figure this out because I gotta serve my community, and people are counting on me. I think that Sean and I see that too. You gotta conquer the things that are in front of you that are affecting you because you want to be effective for the community that you're serving.
Right. You're exactly right. I have people that I feel like are depending on me and our organization, and I kind of took a step back and realized that I need to take care of myself so I can be the best version of myself to then help those people. And if I'm not taking care of myself, then I'm not doing the right thing for the people that I'm supposed to be serving.
Nice. All right, Rob. Well, we really appreciate you sharing yourself with us today. We appreciate all the work that Uplifting Athletes is doing, and I am looking forward to seeing what Uplifting Athletes is going to develop into in the future. I feel like you guys are really kind of hitting your stride right now, and starting to be really effective. So I'm proud to be just to witness what you guys are doing. So thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Kyle, and your story is unbelievable as well. So thank you guys for doing what you're doing.
Thank you for listening to the Two Disabled Dudes podcast.
Find us online at twodisableddudes.com and please subscribe on the iTunes. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
And special thanks to our audio producer, Jake Tompkins.
Until next time, keep living with urgency.